Yo, what's up? This is your girl Dragon and it's time for another Fortnite Creative tutorial. Today I'm going to be taking you through how to create your own pregame lobby, showing you all you need to get started. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, be sure to subscribe, that way you don't miss a thing. And at the end, I'm going to tell you guys about my new release, Holiday Hunters. Alright, it is time to jump in. Let's go! Alright, so here we are. And I want to run through a few things that are very important when it comes to creating your pregame lobby. First thing is, when players come into your map, you want to make sure that you have an information board. This board can contain rules or information about the game they're about to play. Secondly, you want to make sure the players have some way to contact you to report feedback or report any type of bugs. Next, be sure to include matchmaking portals. These portals can be to your favorite maps, a hub that you created for yourself, a map of a friend that you want to share so that you want other players to check out, and so forth. In addition to that, you can also create a matchmaking portal that leads back to the same map in case players want to matchmake into a different lobby. As you can see, this pregame is structured so that when players spawn into the game, they immediately get the information and all they need to know as soon as they're here. Alright, now that you know the base structure of how to set up your pregame, let's go ahead and go through all the devices. Alright, you're going to need player spawner pads, a timer device, a Mutator Zone, a teleporter, player checkpoint pad, a channel device, and if you want to create special effects for when your players are eliminated, then an Elimination Manager, an audio player, a Hud Message Device, and a trigger. For testing purposes, I have an Elimination Manager here, and you'll see what I mean once we run the test. Now that you know all the devices that we need, let me go ahead and explain to you what they're doing. When players spawn in, they're going to see a timer, letting them know the game is about to start. Once the timer is successful, then the Mutator Zone is going to enable and teleport the players to the game lobby. This respawn lobby, if you want to call it that, is very beneficial. Players can respawn when they are eliminated here. They are able to get their weapons and go out and play the game. This allows the game to continue on an endless cycle, especially if you have unlimited respawns and no time set. So that you have an idea of how the system is working, let's go ahead and jump into the settings. Alright, let's start first with game settings. Now for this tutorial, I have a max player of 50, and teams are set to free-for-all, and a team size of 1. I'll go ahead and scroll through the rest so you can take a look. When the game is in progress, the players will spawn right back into the game, and they're going to start in the pregame lobby and be automatically teleported since the Mutator Zone is enabled. As for settings, it's going to be a personal preference here, but I'll go ahead and take a peek at what I have. Now that you got the game settings ready to go, let's take a look at the player spawner pads. I always designate one pad for Team 1. So you can see here I have one for Team 1 and everyone else is set to Team Any. The settings are still all the same. So let's take a look. And there are no functions and no events. Again, I'll show you this one, and the only difference is that the player team is set to any and the rest are all the same, set to any. Next, let's take a look at the timer. Right, and then as far as functions, there's nothing. And events, when it's successful, we're going to send an event to the Mutator Zone device to enable. Next is the game lobby. So when the timer is successful and it enables a Mutator Zone, players will come here. They're teleported, and you can see I have the teleporter placed on top of a checkpoint pad. When the players spawn through, they're going to activate this checkpoint pad. However, for a failsafe, I have a channel device that will register the player once they're teleported to the checkpoint pad, just in case something happens and they spawn in really weird, or players spawn in together and it doesn't activate. This will ensure that it activates for them and they respawn here. And then, as stated before, I have Elimination Manager that will play sound, welcoming the player back once they are respawned here. So let's go ahead and take a look at those settings. All right, let's first start with the teleporter. And functions, we're going to teleport and receiving from Mutator Zone device when the player is entering the zone. And as for events, we have two events that are going to happen when they're teleported. It's going to play a sound through the audio player, and then the channel device is going to transmit a signal. Let's take a look at the checkpoint pad. We have a function set here, register when receiving from the channel device when it receives a signal, and nothing for events. All right, let's move on to the channel device. And the function is going to transmit when receiving from teleporter round lobby when they're teleported. Again, that's the name of my teleporter. And when it receives a transmit, it's going to send an event to the player checkpoint pad to register the player. Next, let's take a look at the Elimination Manager. And there's one event happening here. On eliminated, send an event to trigger lobby message to trigger the device. So that's my trigger device. And then the audio player And we have two functions: play when receiving from the teleporter when they're teleported, and the trigger when it's triggered. And that's it. And then the Hud Message Device Again, feel free to use whatever you like with this. It's all personal preference. We have functions here. We're going to show when receiving from the trigger, and that's it. And then lastly, the trigger. Now that we have everything set up, let's go ahead and run a test to see what it looks like. All right, players start in the pregame lobby and the countdown is working. And here they are in the game lobby. They can get weapons or whatever else you have here and go play the game. If a player is eliminated, they're going to come right back here with a message that says welcome back. And that's it. That's how you create a very simple mechanic for a pregame lobby. Time for some quick tips. All right, tip number 1, make sure you keep your pregame lobby clean and aesthetically pleasing. This is the first thing your players see when they come into your game, so make sure it counts. Tip number 2, make sure you incorporate designs that can show off your creative styles. Tip number 3, make sure you have information throughout because this is the most important aspect. That way players know exactly what to expect when they play your game. Yo, you guys, that's it. How simple is that? Now you are able to create your own pregame lobby. Keep in mind, this can be used for all types of game modes, so be sure to experiment. In addition to that, please be sure to check out my latest release. It's called Holiday Hunters. You can find it now in Discovery by putting in the code you see there on the screen. Alright you guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see ya on the next one. Alright, bye!